We begin with our focus this morning. The University of Johannesburg saying they're not facing a student housing crisis. In fact, they say they're well on track to accommodate all students at on and off campus residence. This comes as the challenge of finding safe, affordable places to live has become a stark reality for many students as the 2025 academic year gets underway. In recent weeks, protests have erupted over the chronic shortage of student accommodation on campuses across the country. SABC News reporter Hasina Gori is at UJ in Auckland Park.
Institutes of higher education across the country have been grappling with various issues as the academic year begins. It first began with a high number of registration from students that were trying to access higher education, be it universities or TVET colleges. Now with that hurdle over, many are now trying to find a bed in one of the residences, either on campus or off campus. One of the main issues that we've seen this year is the non-payment by NSFAS to some of the accommodation service providers due to a new portal system that was created. The Private Student Housing Association claimed that they were owed at least 44 million rand by NSFAS and threatened that they would not allow students to return to these accommodation, leaving at least 7,000 students uncertain of where they would find themselves staying when they return to campuses. We're here at the University of Johannesburg in the Auckland Park campus this morning with the Vice Chancellor to get a sense of what the situation is like here at this specific university. Good morning, sir. Thank you so much, Professor, for speaking to us. Can you give us a sense? We've heard the national kind of look around the country, but here at the University of Johannesburg, what is the situation when it comes to student accommodation?
Yes, thank you very much for this opportunity. At the University of Johannesburg, I think things are being managed very well, if I may say so. We've got around 7,000 beds at our residences, at our various campuses. Of course, one would say these are not enough, and these are not enough beds. But how do we deal with this? We have accredited over 500 privately owned student accommodation, and this accommodation facilities, and this provide around 29,000 beds. So that has helped us a lot. At the moment, we're sitting at 98% in terms of occupancy, in terms of the UJ-owned residences.
We've heard also reports from some of the other campuses across the country of students either sleeping in lecture halls or at the SRC, buildings or in the libraries. Are we hearing similar situations here on the specific campuses?
That is sad, but no, not at UJ. And I'm grateful, in terms of the way our colleagues at Student Affairs, our Student Affairs Division, have been working closely with students and coordinating everything. Those that cannot be accommodated here, they are referred, by here I mean at the University of Johannesburg, they are referred to our accredited privately owned student accommodation. So far, we haven't had that challenge at the University of Johannesburg.
NSFAS in 2023 changed the systems of how they paid for university accommodations, either firstly capping, but also with the portal, moving it from the university being in charge of it to now a portal with no middleman. Do you feel that system is working, or do you feel that they should return, like Outer is asking, to the system where university managed accommodations?
Well, each approach has got its own challenges. My view is that us as institutions of higher learning need to work closely with NSFAS to ensure that we find that middle ground and we find a working solution. And we must give credit to NSFAS. Take the releasing of those allowances. I mean, they were released early. We don't have that problem, which is always a problem. So what we need is to work together, look at what works best, and then take the best practice and let us, build a strong system that will serve our students well.
The last time we were here at UJ last month, we were speaking of the historic number of registrations that the university had received. We've now passed that hurdle. Has UJ managed to register all students irrespective of historic debt, specifically NSFAS students? You spoke about the allowance. Some other universities claiming that the allowance didn't kick in yet, so students have been left unable to start the year.
Yes, well, we had a record number of applications. Of course, we couldn't admit all the students who wanted to study with us, but those that were admitted and registered, NSFAS students, we could accommodate them. What we've been doing over a period of time, UJ would use its own resources to enable the students to register and later, sort it out with NSFAS. had also challenges, as you know, with the missing middle, and with that, returning students, with the system that we use of the students signing acknowledgement of debts. So we managed to manage that. So, our academic year is in full swing.
We can see that as we're standing here at the Madibeng Auckland Park campus, just outside Madibeng building, seeing the students, getting in for the morning. It's Monday morning and classes have already begun. We spoke with the Vice Chancellor, Prof. Mpedi, speaking to us, saying that they have not really had much challenges here at the University of Johannesburg, unlike what we've seen at some of the other universities, with claims of students having to sleep in libraries or left homeless as they're unable to access accommodation, either because NSFAS caps have left them unable to afford the accommodation, or they were threatened because of the non-payment of NSFAS. They were unable to now be admitted back into the residency. We've also heard reports of sexual exploitation by some landlords. In an investigation done by the SABC News in Rebecca, there was a conversation or a story of one student female who was allegedly a victim of rape by an SRC member after she was left without accommodation and took his invite to stay over at his place. This investigation is being investigated by police at the stage. What we now also looking at is the Commission of Gender Equality's report on gender-based violence on campuses and how to create safer universities where students are able to learn in a place that's conducive and they're not exploited. We'll continue today on our special broadcast looking into various different elements around the story, but also bringing you the deputy ministers, both who are at WITS as well as in Johannesburg, doing oversight visits, but also launching campaigns to ensure that students that enter into tertiary education are doing so in a safe and conducive manner.